Okay, so as you can see, I have now quite substantially edited my image with the horse, and our horse is now sitting in the street, but he doesn't quite look realistic. So what we're going to do is we're going to improve how that looks. Now, one of the things I did when cutting out is I very carefully went around all of the edges, but I found it absolutely impossible to get into the spokes. So if I zoom in, you'll see what I mean. Here's the spokes of the wheels, and there's no way I can cut all of that out and get all of that detail. So what I'm going to be doing is instead I'm going to use something called the burn tool. So there's two tools, one which is dodge and one which is burn. Dodge makes the image lighter and burn makes the image darker. So I'm going to use, where's it gone? Here it is. So see it's got this little hand icon, and I'm going to use the dodge tool, okay? Sorry, the burn tool rather, to make it darker. Now I can make this lighter or darker. I can change the size of my brush as well. I can change how hard the brush is, so I can make it a little bit blurry around the edges, and I can change how much darker I want to make it. Now here I've got this area, and actually I don't want to make the spokes any darker. Look, if I do the midtones and I make this darker, you can see the spokes are getting darker as well as, and the background's not really getting that much darker. So it's not helping as much as I'd like because the spokes are getting really, really dark. So what I'm going to do instead is I am going to just instead select the highlights, and I'm going to make my brush a bit bigger, and I am going to burn this area here and burn that area there. I'm going to make my brush a little bit smaller so I don't get, so now I'm going to burn this area here. You'll notice that even if I go back over myself, it only does the burn once. So it's not making it darker everywhere. Okay, and then maybe just burn once more. Oh, that's too dark, so undo. So we can see that's a lot nicer colour coming through there. We could, if we're unhappy with it, just undo like that and start again. So maybe I want to start with a low burn value. I'm going to make this slightly larger, and there we are. I'm just clicking in here. You can of course use your selection tools to help you here. But you can see that colour is coming somewhere closer to where we need it to be. And as we zoom out, you can see it's now looking much more embedded than the other wheel. We can also use this to create shadows. Now the best way to do this is if we take a select like this of the area where we want to create a shadow, and you notice I'm on the background layer. I'm going to do edit, copy, and then I'm going to do edit, paste, and you can see this comes in as layer 2. So I'm going to call it background shadow like this, and what I can now do, if I turn off the first layer, you can see exactly where what I've done. So I've got a copy of that, and what I can do is I can apply the burn tool, and I can do it exactly on that layer. So the shadows are kind of coming this way, so maybe I just start creating some shadows underneath. And you can see there's shadows coming on from the wheel. I could do this as well for the horse. And when I turn this back on, there's the shadows. So we can see whether we've done a good job. Don't worry about putting them in too dark, because on this layer you can also make the layer slightly transparent, so then you can obviously adjust the amount of shadow that you want. So maybe just a simple amount of shadow would be good on here. And what we can see is, now that we've done that, I should be able to zoom out, and you can see there's this little shadow underneath, and I can adjust how dark that shadow is and just see what fits in with the rest of the image. But it just starts to place it properly on the surface. So you can have a go now with the dodge and burn tools. You can also use them for highlights. So if something's in the sun and you want it to catch the sun, you can put that on top as a dodge, and if you want something deeper in shadow, obviously you can burn it, and you can use that for dramatic effect on things like faces as well, to make parts of them more highlighted or parts of them darker.